So you're thinking about becoming a full-time RVer, are you? Well, have you watched all the YouTube videos yet and the millions of Instagram posts that just show how luxurious this lifestyle is? Well, if you have, then I completely understand why you decide you want to do this lifestyle. What's going on, guys, and welcome to Happiness Travel. My name is Jeremy, and I'm going to share with you some things you may or may not know about the full-time RV lifestyle. Me and my wife and our Travelz have been doing this for over 2 years in our current rig, but this ain't our first rodeo. That's right, me and my wife actually did this for 3 years when we first got married, so 25 years and 5 kids later, we decided, you know what? We should get into an RV again and live in it. What the heck? And that's what we did, and we've been full-time in here for over 2 years now, and I want to share with you the things you may or may not know about full-time RV living. So there are many reasons why you may want to start the full-time RV lifestyle. Maybe you want to go travel, or maybe you got a new job and you have to go across the United States and you just need a place to stay and you're going to move around every so often, so you use it for work. Or you're a have to. What's a have to? A have to. You know, you cheated on your wife with your brother or sister, so you have to? You have to. And for those that don't know, we're a travel nurse family. My wife is a travel nurse, so we've been traveling all over the country, going to different states, having fun along the way, but having a job for 3 months at a time and then moving on to the next contract. Sometimes we pick right up and we go to the next contract in a couple weeks, but we've also taken a month and a half off or so, which is really nice. And one of the things I really love about this full-time RV lifestyle. And if this is your first time with an RV or anything like that, you may be in for a complete shock because there is so much that can go wrong, so many things that can happen that you just probably aren't prepared for if this is your first rodeo in the RV world. But I don't want to scare you away because there is a lot of fun and a lot of cool things that you can do by living this lifestyle. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what can you expect from this? If you're thinking of getting into the RV world and this is your first time and you're thinking of selling your sticks and bricks, your house to get an RV, well, that's what we did. We sold our house, we upgraded our RV. We actually, when we sold our house, we had to live in our 24-foot toy hauler, all 5 of us, plus 2 big dogs, and we did that for about 2 or 3 months before we actually bought this. So, and I tell you what, that was an added benefit. That was a benefit in disguise. You know why? Because we started small. We started small, so when we got this, our 40-foot fifth wheel, this was like a mansion to us. And it was awesome, and it made the transition, I think, a whole lot better than if we just jumped into this. So, that's a little recommendation I have for you. If you have the chance to go check this out, maybe you have a trailer, a family member has a trailer, a friend has a trailer, something like that, maybe you can borrow it. Go live in it for a month or 2 and really see what you think. And if you think, hey, if we had something a little bit bigger, I think this would work for us, then this might be the lifestyle for you. But if you live in that and you're just complaining the whole time and you're miserable and not happy, making your trailer a little bit bigger probably isn't going to make you any happier. You're still going to be miserable and you're going to want to quit. And then you're going to be out a whole bunch of money, especially if you just bought a new RV, bought a new truck to tow your RV, and maybe you've had it for less than a year, like I see so many people out there. There's so many posts out there on Facebook and other places where people are selling their brand new 2022 fifth wheel, travel trailer, whatever, trying to get what they owe on it, which is like $30,000 more than what they're worth. So, a lot of research you want to do before you just jump on this bandwagon and go get yourself an RV and start cruising down the road to trouble. Financial trouble, that is. But again, don't let me scare you away because there's a lot of good stuff that comes out of this. You just need to be prepared for what's to come because you don't know what's going to come. But I guarantee you, you're going to have problems. You're going to break down. You're going to blow a flat tire. Things are going to happen that you're probably not normally used to if you're new to this. So, you just need to be prepared for what's to come. And prepared is one of the biggest things. Having the right equipment, having the right tools, and like I've always said in all of my other videos, you must be handy. You need to be handy to do this kind of stuff. If you're going to hit the road with your family and your truck and your trailer, you need to have the tools and all the proper equipment to take care of yourself. If you get a flat tire, if you break down on the side of the road, if something falls apart, so you need to be ready for it. Because you can't just go drop it off at the dealer and pick it up the next day thinking everything's going to be all hunky-dory and fixed. It's more like dropping off at the dealer, 6 months to 2 years later, you can come pick it up. Ridiculous. But that might happen to you because I read so many posts and see so many things about people that are so upset because they got their new RV and they hit the road, they made it a day, had it a day, and everything starts falling apart because that happens. But again, Don't want to scare you away? You're going to love this lifestyle. So there's typically two different types of full-time RVers. You're going to be stationary, which means that you just stay in one spot, maybe have some land, maybe stay at an RV park, friend's house, whatever. You're stationary, you don't move. Then you have a traveler. Traveler's going to be like us, where you move around different towns and different places like that. But we're kind of a mixture, I guess, because we do both. We do a lot of traveling, but there are times that we're stuck in one place for 3 months. Sometimes, though, when we do go to a contract, my wife actually had a contract where they gave her an apartment to stay in, which was pretty cool, because then me and the kids, we took off. We didn't have to stay there for 3 months. My wife stayed there. We kind of came and went, which was really nice, and we were able to go explore a lot of other states and check some things out. So this is more for the travelers. If you are a traveler, how are you going to pay for everything? If you just sold your house and all that stuff, do you have a job? I hope so. If not, what are you going to do? Because it's actually pretty expensive to travel with all the gas, staying places, all that kind of stuff. So what are you going to do? So maybe if you sold your house, you have a little bit of money stashed aside, great. Hey, if that works for you, awesome, go for it, do it, because traveling can be very fun and you can go see a lot of cool stuff and do lots of cool things. But if you don't have a lot of money, don't think because you're getting rid of a house and staying in a trailer, you're going to save all kinds of money now and money's just going to magically come to you. I don't know. I see posts all the time where people post stuff like, hey, what do you do for money? I'm living in a trailer. You know, I want to do this and I want to do that, you know, but I have no money. Well, just like anything else, if you ain't got no money, you can't go do anything. You can't travel. You can't, I mean, take away the whole trailer thing. If you don't have money, you can't go do it. So you need to figure out what you're going to do. Maybe I would recommend probably if you have something set up like we did, like a travel nurse, if you have a job like you know you're going to, or you have, awesome. It's going to be a lot easier. But if you don't, before you hit the road or before you go get a trailer, maybe go get a remote job. There's lots of online stuff you can do. Maybe get a remote job and you can start doing that and making some money before you hit the road. Because if you think you're going to buy a trailer, hit the road, and somehow magically money's just going to fall into your hand, you're kind of hitting too much of the old wacky tobacco, you know what I mean? Actually, that's not even wacky tobacco. You must be doing something else if you think that. So definitely have your money in order, or have a job lined up, have something. Don't just hit the road, because if you do, you're going to have problems. You're not going to be able to take care of it. You're just going to be miserable. But let's assume you have money, or you have a job, and you are good to go, and you are set to travel. Well, where are you going to stay? What are you going to do? Do you have places picked out? Are you thinking you want to stay in RV parks? Are you thinking you want to stay at free places or go boondocking, dry camping? You want to do that kind of stuff? Awesome. Each one of those has its own little things that you need to consider. Like we do probably 90 to 95% free places when we're traveling. When we have contracts, it's a little bit different. Sometimes we kind of move around, different free places, things like that. We'll stay at an RV park here and there. Sometimes we'll stay at an RV park for the full 3 months. It just depends on where it's at and what our particular situation is in that state. So if you're going to stay in RV parks, you need to consider the price, because some of them can be very pricey depending on where you're at in the country. Some are cheap. I've been to places where it's $25 a night for full hookups, like awesome, that's a great deal. But then we've been to other places too, or I shouldn't say we've been, because I didn't want to pay it. $110 a night, really, for a place to park with some hookups? I'm not cool with that. That's not the kind of stuff we like to do. But we do stay at RV parks. We're actually at one right now. It's pretty nice. It's not too bad of a price. We're on a weekly deal here because we're not sure how much longer we're going to stay here. And there's not lots of free places to stay around here. And stay tuned for an upcoming video, because I am doing a video on how you can travel for cheap. Meaning where you can stay for free, things like that, because 95% of the time we stay at free places when we try. I very rarely pay to stay at places when we're traveling. And after one contract, we almost ended up traveling for 2 months. And out of that 2 months, there was probably 6 to 8 days we stayed in an RV park. Everywhere else was free. And that saves us so much money. So stay tuned for that one. So some things to consider if you're thinking of dry camping, boondocking, is you need to have water with you. You need to have empty holding tanks. There's a lot involved with it. If you're gonna stay more than a couple days, you need to take a couple extra things with you that you maybe don't need if you're going to an RV park or staying in places like that where you have hookups. Because when you're on your own, you're boondocking, whatever, dry camping in a parking lot, however you're doing it, you're gonna need water, you're gonna need maybe more propane, you're gonna need just some things that you don't typically need as much of because you have full hookups. You have access to water, you have access to power, you have access to all that, you know. So do you have a generator? Do you have those kind of things to give you the power? And I'm telling you right now, because I see a lot of people mentioned that they got a trailer, they have a battery in their trailer, you know, and they were able to go for a day and a half and everything died. Well, those batteries that come with the trailers, those don't have much power. Those are basically just for the basic necessities as far as like the lights at nighttime, maybe your water pump, things like that. They're not meant to run big things, and if you hook an inverter up to one of those batteries, it's going to drain pretty quick, and most likely your battery, if it's a factory battery, it's a lead acid battery. Those don't last that long. Once they get down below 50%, they're pretty much toast. So maybe you'll upgrade to a lithium battery or something, but just know, if you're new and you're getting a new trailer, the batteries that come with it, unless there's an upgraded system in it, typically aren't going to last you more than a couple days. So those are things you got to keep in mind too if you're going to do the dry camping, boondocking, staying at Walmarts, Cracker Barrels, those kind of things. You need other things. So do some research, because there's a lot of more things that you need to make your life comfortable, because if not, after 2 days you're going to be miserable. And if it's summertime and it's hot, you're really going to be miserable. So do some research first. Now, if you're staying at the RV parks, that's totally different, because typically RV parks are going to have full hookups, meaning they have power, they have water, and they have sewer, which means you can hook up your septic stuff. So, and if you're new to that, welcome to the poop shoot game, because you're going to need to get a sewer hose, or maybe 2, or maybe 3. It just depends on your trailer, how many tanks you have. Our particular trailer here, I have 3 different tanks. I have 1 big black tank and I have 2 gray tanks. But I have 2 separate spots for them on the outside where I have to hook the hoses up. So I need, if I'm on an RV park like I am now, I need 2 hoses that go down, and then I have a Y that they go to. And then I've also been places where I need those plus a 3rd one because the hoses aren't long enough. So then I have to hook another hose to that Y to send it out to where the fitting is on the ground. So there's lots of things to keep in mind, and there's lots of things you're going to want to do and research and get to have handy to make your life a lot easier, because trust me, when you're all excited, it's new, you're going out to have all this fun, you're traveling, you're doing all your things, sometimes you forget about the basic things that you need to make your life a little easier. Like the sewer hose, a water hose, and an extension for your electric cord, because some power things are not right next to your trailer at the RV park. They're another 150 feet away, so you got to take a big old extension cord with you. So just be prepared for that stuff. And I am going to be doing a video on that later as well, to show you all the things that you really need to take with you to make your life comfortable. Now me, I typically kind of overdo it on some stuff. I like to have more than what I actually need, just because if something happens, I like to be prepared. Be prepared. Remember I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. Being prepared is key for everything. When you're not prepared, things go downhill quick. So let's assume now that you have all the goodies that you need for whether you're sitting in an RV park or you're out boondocking in the woods or wherever that may be. Let's just assume you have all the stuff you need. Now comes the fun part of actually living in the trailer. Now, do you have a family? We have a family. There's 5 of us in here plus 2 dogs. It can get a little crowded. And ours actually is a decent size for an RV. It's got a couple slides and whatnot. But it can still be really crammed in here. So you got to think, hey, can you deal with a small space? You know, because if you can't, this can really, really get to you. So you need to figure out, are you someone that can deal with a small space? Because this is a small space. And let me tell you, if you're someone who complains a lot, if you're someone who's unhappy a lot, this type of lifestyle is not for you, because you will only complain and only be miserable and make everyone else around you miserable as well. And there's more than just because you cheated on your wife with your brother or sister that makes you have to do that. There's a lot of other things that go on that would make you fall into that have to category. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about this is by choice. Like you actually want to move into an RV. Because from seeing a lot of the stuff that people post out there, they just weren't prepared for this, and it's not what they thought. They watched one too many YouTube videos and saw one too many Instagram posts where people were just having the time of their lives, right? Living it up, right? Living the dream. But unfortunately, that's not the case for everybody. Because there are definitely people that RV life is just not for. If you have depression, if you have things going on, sometimes being in a small confined space could actually make it worse. So just do a lot of research, and if you have the chance to stay in one before you buy one or before you sell your house and think you're going to get into this and love it, go try it out. Take it for a little old test drive and see what you think. And trust me, you'll thank me later. And another must-have if you're going to do this lifestyle is have a positive attitude. I do all the time. My wife says I wake up too happy all the time. You know what? I'm just in a good mood. I'm just happy. I look at everything as, you know what? It could always be worse, because it could always be worse. this lifestyle definitely could be for someone like me. I could be in here as long as my wife and family could stand it, and that's probably what's going to happen when they're done, we're done. Or at least done with that part of it. I just have traveling in my blood, and it's something that I know I want to continue to do. Maybe it won't be at a full-time thing like we're doing right now, but I definitely, after we have a house, whatever, it's definitely going to be something I continue to do. So again, this is not for everybody. You can go have fun for a little while, but you might be one of those people that get burnt out after a couple months. Maybe you make it a year. Maybe you don't even make it a week. Who knows? This could end up in a divorce, all kinds of things. So keep all that stuff in mind. But if you're someone like me, you would thoroughly enjoy this. Now, my wife, okay, give you a little sneak peek here, because me and my wife, completely different opposite ends of the spectrum as far as all this stuff goes. Me, totally happy, could be in here for as long as they want to. My wife, on the other hand, she is making the best of it. She is a trooper, she is doing good, but she is also, because maybe I didn't mention in this video, but our whole thing with this travel nurse thing is while we're traveling around, we're looking for our next house, where we want to move. I mean, we know eventually we're going to buy a house, but this allows us to go travel the country and see, hey, where do you want to live? Because if you just stay in the same state you've always been and all you know is that state, well, there's a lot more out there than that specific state that you grew up in or whatever. So we're taking advantage of that and working at the same time to be able to take our family. I do all the homeschool and stuff. We travel around, and man, it is a blast so far. Everything's good. My wife's kind of getting down toward that end where she's like, I think we need to get a house soon. So that's been our goal the whole time. So we're looking even more now, but we're also going to more places, more states, so we can see, so we can actually find out where do we want to buy our house. So that's one of the reasons we love this so much, or I love this so much. My wife's just a great trooper, hanging in there, making the best of it, but she's also, that's awesome. But if you don't have a wife like I have, or you don't have a husband, the opposite of what I have. Anyways, if you don't have a significant other that is open and has a good attitude, along with your good attitude, it's not going to work. Because even if you really want to go do this as much as you want, if he or she does not want to go do this, it's going to be miserable. And that person is going to be miserable. So me, I try to make everything as easy as I can for my wife. I get up at 4:45 with her each morning. I come out and make her breakfast, get her lunch ready to go to work. As she goes off, because I try and make things easier for her, because I know she's the one she's working, which that's our situation that we have going on. She's the nurse, I'm the homeschool teacher. She loves our kids, but there's no way she could homeschool. Trust me, it is hectic. It's very hectic. And 7th grade, 8th grade stuff, oh my gosh. Anyways, different story, different video, different everything. But just saying, you got to be positive. You got to have a good attitude, and you got to try and make the best of everything, because if you do not, it is going to be miserable, and you will sink faster than the Titanic hitting an iceberg. I'm telling you right now, you're going to hit the road construction iceberg, and that's it. Trip's over. Done deal. And all that money that you just spent buying an RV, buying a truck, whatever your situation is, just went down the tubes. And especially if you bought a new one and you're thinking, oh, this isn't for us, we're selling it, and it's like 6 months later or a year later, you're not going to get back out of your RV what you're into it. I mean, you're just not. I mean, so just keep that in mind, because this could financially just sink you if you're not prepared and you don't do it right. So anyways, that's just a little advice I have as far as that goes. But the two main things when you're traveling, besides needing all the stuff that you need, be prepared and have a good attitude. You got to have a good positive attitude, or this just isn't going to work for you. Well, there is a lot more to full-time RVing, and there is many other things that I could get into, but I think I'm going to go ahead and stop for today. I don't want this video to be too long. I will be updating on some future videos. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I gave you just a little bit of what you could possibly find yourself getting into. So far, we've been loving it. I've been loving it. My wife's a trooper. She's been hanging in there. Kids have been loving it. We've been going to many different fun places along the way, while working, while making money, while raising the kids, while homeschooling, and all that stuff. So it can be very fun, very exciting, and have a great time if you're prepared and have a great attitude. So anyways, that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please consider subscribing, and we will see you on the next video. Have a good one. The sun's going down. No stars in the sky. I'ma head down the road across county line, where they roll up the smoke.